There's a lot of people that got his back. That's for damn sure. A lot of people, a lot of black people on top of that. Oprah, Taraji, who else? Of course, Gail, Beyonce, and Jay-Z. The list goes on. They have his back. So you got to come up with some pretty big receipts if you gonna think you're gonna take that man down. There is a lot of power and privilege in this. And baby, Hollywood, like I said, didn't I just say this? Hollywood loves to protect its own. But what happens when you're no longer in the inner circle? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Pop Off with me, Belle, your host here. And let's not even front, okay? I got off to a good start here. I had 4 episodes. And then I just disappeared, right? For those that have been watching, which, again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this podcast because a lot of work goes into this, and I do it by myself. I would love to hire somebody, but you already know what's going on in this economy. Anyway, this is what's been going on with me. What I didn't realize until now, because I got a therapist, I got a new psych, I can't even say it. I have a new psych nurse practitioner. Yes, your girl has some mental health issues. She has some mental issues. But what I found out is, and I know I shouldn't make a joke out of this, I'm literally bipolar. You know how we used to make the joke about, oh, you're bipolar. No, I'm literally bipolar. To be exact, I have bipolar depression. And if you know about this and you've dealt with this yourself or dealt with someone that also has had it, you have your highs and you have your lows. And for the past 20 years, I've been having those highs and lows and did not realize why I was having them. I've taken so many different meds and none of them would work. And when I say I was completely melting to my couch full of depression, I was doing that. And actually, like these past 2 weeks, I was doing the same thing. But I also needed to find out what was really going on with me because I'm fighting to stay alive. There are so many people that I'm not saying they don't fight, but it's hard when you don't have the right people taking care of you. And in this world today, you definitely need to have a therapist, if it's possible, someone to talk to, which I have plenty of people to talk to. I'm just stubborn about it. And you also need to find the right psychiatrist or psych nurse practitioner that can put you on the right meds and actually look at your symptoms that is going on with you. And when they ask you the questions of, do you have those moments? Be honest about it. Because if you're not honest, you're never going to get well. And that's exactly what I've been going through these past 20 years, trying to figure myself out. Backstory a little bit before we jump into this new episode here. I was originally diagnosed with manic depression. That's what it was called then when I was in my mid to late 20s. And back then, I don't think they had the right type of meds. So I've been going through taking meds that deal with general anxiety and depression instead of actually treating the symptoms of what is now called bipolar depression, which is bipolar 2, which is not as strong as bipolar 1. So I have my episodes that are called hypomania, where I want to do everything. I make all these plans. I spend so much money. I drink or smoke a lot and I used to smoke weed. I finally stopped. But now I'm like, I don't want to do any of that stuff anymore. I've been on some new meds for the past week and they've been working wonders. And I have to take them because if you don't take them, you go through a tizzy. Okay. And this is how we're going to get started. Okay. Can I just say that 2025 has been a wild year. Even if it's been for you personally, as it's been for me, it's been for everybody a wild year. Okay. I don't know what to even say about this because I don't know if it's the year of lawsuits or breakups, but it feels like fame is finally catching up with celebrities. And honestly, it's satisfying in a weird way. And you know, if you're watching this episode, we're going to get into a lot of chaos here. I already explained the backstory of why I took a break, but also a lot of celebrities need to take a break. Okay, so today we're talking about Hollywood legal boom and celebrity breakup booms because people be breaking up left and right in celebrity world. Lawsuits, public trials, PR statements, and heartbreak. We're going to break it all down for you. And y'all know me. I love to keep it real, messy, and unfiltered. So let's pop off. I love saying that, okay? Let's get into topic one here. The Hollywood legal boom. Basically, celebrity accountability era. So let's start with that here. Fame is no longer a free pass. We know this. Social media is a huge thing. And people get on there and they will not let you have a pass if you say one bad thing. All right. From lawsuits and criminal cases, stars are finally facing consequences for their actions, i.e., R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, and just recently, Sean Diddy Combs. Yeah. I mean, 2025 has been a wild year. People are getting dragged into courts that they never thought they see the inside of. Example, Sean Diddy Combs. And honestly, it's about time. People need to be held accountable for their actions. We can no longer let people get away with doing just whatever they want. And they're seeing accountability in real time, and the receipts are mad messy. Let's take, for example, Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, right? This has been going on for a very long time. Lively accused Baldoni of sexual harassment during the filming of It Ends With Us, which, by the way, I hate to say it, I watched the movie. It was a little confusing, and it wasn't all that great. Yeah, no. Baldoni, though, he's countersued for $400 million, alleging defamation and a smear campaign here. Of course, they would say that because he's probably very, very much guilty. Okay. And this case has sparked a lot of debates about power dynamics in Hollywood. And if you're trying to make you're trying to look at this and you see it, there have been so many parties involved with this that have been dragged into it. Okay. Taylor Swift was dragged into it. Even Perez Hilton has been dragged into this. Actually, for sure, Perez Hilton was caught outside of the courtroom, had a whole interview with him talking about this whole thing and having a discussion about it all. It's just crazy when you really think about this situation, because it literally breaks down to he said, she said. The text messages were released. They pulled Taylor Swift into it, discussing it. They pulled all these different people. Justin Baldoni was trying to do a whole I'm a good person campaign, and then the text came out. And that's what we found out a lot of. And the main person that was quiet through it all, I hate to say it, was Blake Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds. Which in a way, it makes sense. Probably as a husband, he probably wanted to beat his ass. But Ryan Reynolds is making bank out here right now. He ain't trying to mess up his money. And Blake probably told him to, stay away from it, stay out of it, let it happen or whatever. Just let it work itself out. Totally understandable. I think most husbands, though, would say, F all that. I'm beating this mug's ass. I'm going to make an example out of him. And, speaking of making examples, okay. Now, here's the thing. As we talk about making an example in this culture, which happens a lot, people always want to make an example out of somebody. When we look at the Me Too movement, the biggest example that comes out of that is Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. They both got away with sexually assaulting, raping, sexually harassing, blacklisting women in Hollywood for decades. And now Harvey Weinstein is sitting in a prison cell. Bill Cosby got out. I think he should be put back in, but that's neither here or there at this point. But are some stars punished harder to make an example out of them, or is it really justice catching up into this situation? Because it feels like some people are getting the book thrown at them, i.e. R. Kelly, while others are just, as we say, skate by. Harvey Weinstein and R. Kelly got the book thrown at them. Who skated by? Bill Cosby. And we're watching it all unfold, just having our popcorn in hand, discussing it online, and saying what we think should happen. Here's the example of that, and this has kind of just slid under the radar in a lot of news cycles, I would say. You may have been mentioned once or twice, but it hasn't been a big deal like past cases have been, okay? And the example I'm talking about is Tyler Perry. The actor Derek Dixon filed like a $260 million lawsuit alleging sexual assault and retaliation during the work of being on The Oval. The BET's The Oval, Tyler Perry got a couple of shows on there. And this case highlights the abuse of power. Done a lot of different things. Another person that also accused Tyler Perry, and I've been watching Tyler Perry's journey since the beginning, and it kind of makes me sad that this kind of stuff is coming out. I don't know how to feel about it, but let's just say it's not a good look. Christian Keys, who wrote the show All the Queen's Men, that's on BET Plus, and it's actually a really good show. I have to give Christian Keys his props. Like I watched the first 3 seasons. I wasn't paying for BET Plus anymore because all these streaming apps are getting out of control. But that's neither here or there. But Christian Keys also accused Tyler Perry of some things without saying it. But he did accuse him, and he also talked about how he was going to pull the show off the air. Obviously, that did not happen. Eva Marcel is actually in the midst of promoting the new season of All the Queen's Men. But yeah, he also accused Tyler Perry of sexual harassment and I don't want to say sexual assault, but he definitely accused him of sexual harassment. And it's just sad to see that something like this can happen. We don't know all the details, if it's real or if it's not real, but I feel like eventually if enough people come out, or enough men or women, I'm just going to put both out there because I'm not going to speculate about Tyler Perry's sexuality. That's not my business to do that. How you live is how you live. But if enough people come out and speak on this, then that might be a problem. And this is when I say like this went under the radar because it has not been discussed since the news came out. And it's one of those things where it comes into having power and privilege. Tyler Perry brings in hundreds of millions of dollars with all the shows he has across Netflix, BET Plus, and now Prime even. And like I said, Netflix. He ain't gonna mess up that money. He gonna figure that stuff out. And there's a lot of people that got his back. That's for damn sure. A lot of black people on top of that. Oprah, Taraji, who else? Of course, Gayle, Beyonce, and Jay-Z. The list goes on. They have his back. So you got to come up with some pretty big receipts if you think you're going to take that man down. There is a lot of power and privilege in this. And baby, Hollywood, like I said, didn't I just say this? Hollywood loves to protect its own. But what happens when you're no longer in the inner circle? That's a real question. Because if you think about it, it's kind of high school. And when you really think about it, you never really leave high school. You're always going to be a part of a clique of some sorts. What type of clique that is, that's really up to you as you get older. But it's wild to see like how these two similar cases have completely different outcomes just because of their connections, influence, or money. You know, we all see it, which makes some of us say like, yeah, that's not fair. I know I definitely said that. That's not fair. Because if I did something like that as a regular person, I would be out of a job. I'd be living out on the streets. And I would probably be having to live off of SNAP benefits, which ain't no problem with that. I had SNAP benefits back in the day. That's another subject, though. Again, and so when you think about power and privilege and the things that people are able to get away from, I don't think a lot of people think about this person, but I do remember this situation. Shia LaBeouf and FKA Twigs. You remember that? She alleged that Shia LaBeouf raped her, sexually assaulted her, constantly abused her, physically abused her while they were in a relationship. I think she even mentioned that he tied her up at one point, and not in a good, fun way, in a very scary, like, oh my God, like this could really like kill me or something. And that really is scary. And the reason why I say that is because I'm going to use a relatable thing here. When I was seeing someone in my early 30s, I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina. I knew this guy from way back when, and we reconnected. I didn't realize how bad his PTSD was. And I also did not think highly of myself once again. But there were times when we would be together, if you know what I'm talking about, be together, okay? And he would choke me during those sessions. One time, he tried to choke me so hard, I had to put my hand underneath his hands because his hands was holding tight against my neck. And that was a scary time. There's another time where I just was not into it. I didn't want to at all. And I was trying to get away from him. And he literally flipped me over, put his hands around my neck, and finished himself. But of course, I did not report it because I thought I brought it on myself. Not saying that's what FKA Twigs did. I say she's very brave to speak out on the abuse that she endured in that relationship. I wish I would have had the balls to do that. But he also was a firefighter with a lot of connections in that city. Don't know what would have happened if I would have spoke up at all. So I always kept it to myself. And I kept that trauma to myself because I thought it was my fault. And I'm pretty sure at one point she felt that way too. But she was brave enough to talk about it. But at the same time, Shia LaBeouf wasn't punished the way he should have been. The same way that Diddy abused Cassie for years, the entire time that they were together. And even tried to, after she left him, tried to taunt her. And with the whole case that happened, he only got 4 years and only serving 2.5. Like, are you crazy? Power and privilege. He's getting away with, I'm not going to say murder, but with taunting and traumatizing a woman for a whole decade. If you cannot think to yourself, this person belongs in prison for the rest of his life, you have no soul. You have no soul at all. There are fans out there that still believe that Cassie is not telling the truth, or Diddy doesn't belong in jail the same way they think that R. Kelly should be out of jail. And so when it comes to these public trials and the fans and things of that stuff, we got fans out here. And because of social media, it has turned into an ultimate courtroom. We all want to see what's going to happen. I feel like this comes first from the R. Kelly trial. The biggest thing, of course, like a lot of women and people were protesting and standing outside the courts, hoping that, he would be free or whatever. And in that same token, people were using Twitter, they were using TikTok and Instagram polls to form the opinion of somebody being guilty or not guilty before the judge even has to speak. I mean, it's a whole thing. People still doing it today, when you think about the situations at hand and how much the R. Kelly trial was discussed, all his trials, when you think about the Diddy case and how much that was discussed, or even the stuff with Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. Everybody wanted to be on Tory Lanez's side and say that he did not shoot her in the foot, that Megan was lying, that Meg just wants attention, because she's not a good rapper or whatever. And she literally showed the bullet fragments in her foot of what happened. And on top of that, she actually was trying to save Tory from going to jail. She wasn't going to speak on the situation at hand. She was going to keep it to herself because she didn't want to put another black man in jail until he started running his mouth and saying stuff to try to not mask, but cover up the situation at hand and act like nothing happened or that it was all Megan's fault. And that's where the free fall came. Everything just started tumbling down. And now that man doing 10 years in prison, after which he'll be deported back to Canada, which means we'll never have to listen to his music again. I love that. I love that for all of us, especially me. Because Tory Lanez was never a great artist at all. But that's what I mean about power and privilege. He really tried to cover up what he did, and he used his fan base, and they all turned on her. And she was literally right in everything that she did. And he literally tried to ruin her life. I mean, she was with somebody at that time who I shall not name. And when he found out everything that happened and everything was going on in her life, he left her. Everybody was trying to trash her, even her former best friend. I mean, that's crazy. It was a crazy time. That was a crazy time. But she got her justice, and I'm happy for her on that. Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And lastly, we speak about moral fatigue here. You know, I gotta be honest with you. I hope that you feel this way too. Aren't we tired of having every star have some type of scandal out here? Like, I feel like people enjoy it because they be like, oh yeah, the celebrities are stars like us. But at the same time, people are secretly addicted. Are you secretly addicted to the scandals that happen? Does it make you feel better because their life is not as grand as they make it seem to be on social media? Probably so. Probably so. It's exhausting, but let's be honest, all of us, we still keep clicking on these things, right? We click on it so much. But it's a crazy time. It is a crazy time. And when you go from the courtroom to the heart, we got to talk about love and heartbreak in Hollywood. We're obsessed with these couples and we want to do couple goals because apparently chaos doesn't stop with lawsuits, right? We've seen it with Cardi B and Offset. The back and forth, the back and forth, the back and forth. She finally left that man. Okay. Let's talk breakups because, of course, 2025 is really the end, everything ending. We literally see this happening right now. Every week it seems like a couple is calling it quits. And I'm just asking, cultural burnout, emotional shifts, or just bad timing? Like whatever it is, it's trending, y'all. I know people don't want to talk about gossip as much or entertainment news as much. They want to go more with empathy and be empathetic. But this is what's happening in the world right now. Like celebrities are still human. Okay. Like, for example, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, they separated after 19 years. Reportedly, Nicole wanted to save the marriage. First of all, who even knew if they were going to separate or divorce? Because the last I saw, they was happy together. They had their 2 kids. Of course, Nicole has the other 2 kids with Tom Cruise. But nobody saw that coming. All of a sudden, you see news, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban have separated. What? Or even, from Full House, Lori Loughlin and her husband, they separated after 27 years. And that shows that even long-term marriages in Hollywood are not immune to public and personal pressures. Personally, I think that college scandal probably kind of did them in. And from what I was reading online, the only person that was defending her was old boy. I forgot his name. He played Jesse on Full House. John Stamos. That's his name. John Stamos was the only one defending her and saying that the husband had always been a butthole. He wasn't treating her right or whatever. But we will never know the details. But long marriages like this, breaking up, it kind of just puts a damper in whether or not you yourself want to get married or even be in a relationship. It's kind of scary when you think about it. And then when you have public relationships, especially when they use them as content, a lot of times, it's weird. Like celebrity couples will turn love into a brand. We're seeing it right now with Love Island. Okay. I don't watch Love Island. It's not my thing. I feel like the kids are too young to be on there thinking they're going to be with this person for the rest of their life, and they're showing themselves. And I also feel like reality TV really shows you who you are. But they post it, they monetize it, and then fans like myself, because on TikTok, I have a couple of TikTok couples that I really, really love to see, but we consume it like it's a TV show. But then when the pressure mounts, right? Can the love survive? And usually, no, it doesn't. I.e., Tom Cruise and Anna de Armas, which, by the way, I thought she was still with Chris Evans, but I guess he's with totally somebody else. But this relationship had fans shipping them hard, but the public scrutiny, apparently, and their busy schedules contribute to their split. We all know that Tom Cruise is a part of the Scientology religion, right? I don't know if that was it. I feel like maybe she didn't fit the mold of Scientology, because that man is committed to that religion and has been for a very, very long time. From my understanding, like at one point they was lining up women for him so he could find his next wife. Don't know if that's true. Don't know if that's true. But yeah. And other couples, I would say, like Cardi B and Offset. Remember when they first came out? And they were doing a lot of songs together. I'm going to say this. Yes, Offset had the Migos, but when he was solo, it didn't hit as much unless he had Cardi B on his records. And of course, they did a lot of content together. Excuse me. They did a lot of content together and they posted it. They did a lot of stuff together. She made him hot. And then when it came down to it, he kept disrespecting her over and over again. It had her looking crazy to the point that she didn't want to put out any more music, which is crazy to me because this latest album is bomb. And this is where it gets wild. Parasocial relationships or parasocial attachments, right? Fans seem to think that they have to take these breakups personally. I don't take them personally. That's their life. It's sad though, because at some point, I grew up on this, but you see them as couple goals. And then I was like, I don't want those type of goals. Because they're human. These people are human. They're not like subjected to not having heartbreaks or having problems in their marriages or their relationships. Like when we think about Beyonce and Jay-Z, even though they never really talked about like outright what was happening in their relationship, in their marriage, we got Lemonade, we got 444, and then we got Everything is Love. And I think that told us all we need to know about what was going on in their marriage at that time. So we overanalyze, we theorize, we sometimes even send unsolicited advice or shade, but these are people with real feelings. Like we don't need to sit up here and judge and criticize them. They're already feeling it themselves. You know, like it's so hard to sit there and think to yourself, like, and take the time to get on social media under a lot of these blog sites and say, oh, Jay-Z's Beyonce needs to leave Jay-Z because he ain't no good. He ain't that cute anyway. Beyonce ain't never leaving that man. They is deep in love. Or even criticizing and judging Cardi B for staying with Offset so long. You know, she wanted that marriage to work. She wanted to be with that man. He didn't want to be with her. He just wanted to control her. He didn't let her be herself. That's why we didn't get music for so long. Or she put out music and then she'd disappear again. Because she just wasn't herself, because she kept trying to make this situation work. And us as fans was criticizing all of that. Because we didn't really see the inside of their daily relationship of what they had going on. And that could really be like very traumatizing for folks. And I can understand why Cardi used to go like, and she still does. She go off on spaces or even lives on IG because she's getting tired of people criticizing when she knows what she's trying to do and it's not helping with the situation. Gotta let these people breathe. And then when you think about this whole situation, you think about like stuff with like Cardi B and Offset, or even like the marriage of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. You know, there's a whole PR cycle. I think I recently just saw an article that Keith Urban was like laughing when Blake Shelton made a comment about him and Nicole Kidman's marriage. That's not funny. That ain't funny. You know, when you break up with someone, you have to, hold on, let me backtrack. When these couples break up, they always issue a carefully worded statement, or they drop a song. Beyonce dropped Lemonade. Cardi B dropped Am I the Drama? And then it's rinse and repeat. All the celebrities do this, actors, singers, whatever. Hollywood has turned heartbreak into a product. And it's kind of genius when you think about it. We get all into it because they end up making music or even making projects that we can really relate to. Yes. Like, for instance, you know, Tom Cruise and Anna de Armas. They both maintain public statements to control the narrative of their relationship. We will never really know what actually happened in that relationship, but we just have to take it with a grain of salt. So, you got to zoom out on all those situations, and maybe it's not just them or about them. It's about us. We love love stories, but we crave chaos even more, right? I know I do at times. I'm like, oh, all this lovey stuff because I've been single since 2018. Love stuff. Yeah. Messier breakups equal higher engagement, and we eat it up. We were like, I knew that person went with them, or they didn't like them. Like right now, Megan Thee Stallion, I got to use a current example. She's with an NBA player, Klay Thompson, and they look very cute together. Like she's very happy. She looks like she's in her soft girl era. I can't wait to be in that era at some point. They even just bought a house together, right? But at the same time, people are criticizing their relationship, saying that why is Klay with this person? She's not good enough for him. He can be with somebody else, blah, 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 blah. But as soon I'm not putting this on them, we're going to knock on wood. Y'all hear it? I'm knocking on wood that they don't break up because he calls her Mrs. Megan Pete Thompson. Okay. They better not ever break up. I'm coming for Klay. I'm just saying. Okay. But it says a lot about our parasocial relationships that are like obsession and the pressure of living publicly among these celebrities. They fight hard and they work hard for these things, and then everything can come crumbling down. These breakups can be mirrors reflecting the dating culture, celebrity worship, and how we perceive fame. It's not just gossip, it's commentary on society and our expectations of love, longevity, and perfection in public life. We think that if they're living this life that seems very great, that nothing should be wrong. And that's not always true at all. Basically, Hollywood breakups teach us that we shouldn't hold anyone to couple goals, even the biggest stars. I know I had to stop because I was like, oh, I want to love and marriage like Jay-Z and Beyonce. Then I found out Jay-Z been cheating on Beyonce, and that made me mad. But he worked hard to get her back. But I also know I don't want a relationship like that. I don't want a relationship like that at all. So whether it's lawsuits or heartbreak, Hollywood continues to reflect our obsession with chaos. And here's my takeaway, okay? So here's the through line. Hollywood legal boom shows accountability is finally hitting fame. Celebrity breakup boom remind us that love, even its glitzy form, is messy and public. And whether it's courts or crushes, confidence, accountability, and chaos are recurring themes in Hollywood. So here's my pop-off question. Are you ready for it? Oh man, we really went through this episode. We did 30 minutes. I hope you stayed the entire time because I know I was kind of rambling on a little bit, but I made some good points, I would say I made some good points. Okay, so here's your pop-off question here. Are we watching celebrities stumble because we care about justice and love, or are we just addicted to the drama? Of course, I want to hear your thoughts on this, all right? Drop your comments, share this episode, and let me know who is the next to break up or face the law. Not even 2025, because this year almost over. In 2026, I'm going to move forward because everybody tired of 2025. We all tired of it, okay? So thanks for riding with me on episode. Oh, your girl gotta buy a new XLR cable. Okay. So thanks for riding with me on episode 5. I will see you next week. Same vibe. Same more chaos. And of course, we're gonna pop off. Because I got a lot of things to say. Okay. Peace out.